Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? Alright, let's get straight into this ridiculously weird intergalactic criminal interdimensional what? um, Having this show already be in probably mumbo jumbo for a lot of people who don't care to know a lot about like science and different types of things that they, pose could be real or fake. They just are still looking for ways to technically, um, prove that it's actually factual and not just whatever they come up with and you're just supposed to accept it. So to think that they're kind of skipping past all that and they already have all these things going for them, it's pretty crazy. This world and this device that we have is so ridiculously powerful that pretty much another being that was existing supposedly where the truth of the universe could lie is even insisted on trying to get it. So that's kind of a little bit where you can understand of what type of ridiculousness is popping off already, which kind of scares me, to be fair. Oh my god, Robin. Um, I apologize when you guys hear those explosions. There's this guy named Robin, and I usually try to do missions without him in it because he breaks the sound barrier, seeing how there should be no sound when I turned off all the sound, but hey, he's sound itself. But yeah, overall, it just makes it a lot better for the show and myself that they actually jump and dive into this because, to be fair, if they didn't tell me that this is the stuff that could exist in this like world, in this show, in this overall storytelling, it would be hard to believe that this is just some type of human on human thing. We kind of got our first true understanding that it wasn't a human based like the person whoever is doing this wasn't human, and we learned that from the father in last week's episode, but then it's never really elaborated on until this week's episode when we actually learn what he just might be, or at least close to it, because I don't even think the woman who you know has been chasing him and trying to revenge her loved one Abigail, I don't even think she knows exactly his goals or plans, because when she comes here and she's like, oh, this is why he's doing this is probably why he's doing that, and then come to find out that none of that stuff was really what he's like, oh, that those are good theories, but those are fantasy, like you're just coming up with those things on your own accord, and they're wrong, pretty much. So, I mean, of course, the bad guy's not going to be like, my God, you nailed it. You got me completely figured out. I mean, unless he just doesn't care, regardless of you knowing all that information. But to think that he's telling the truth, or to think that you're supposed to believe the villain, would make, you look kind of foolish. So, it's one of those types of shows where he could straight up be telling the truth, like, oh yeah, it's like you're completely wrong about what I'm trying to do, and because you're completely wrong, that just puts me in a better position to like do whatever the heck I want at that point, and I don't know. I like that aspect of the show, that they're kind of making the villain absolutely beyond broken. But that being said, I feel so bad for anyone being taken over by this person. I mean, to be fair, hopefully, unlike Abigail, there wasn't as much pain for the principal or the teacher or whatever he is, because this interdimensional thing or whatever, pretty much, just takes over your whole entire body and soul, and then it just takes over your body and leaves your soul an empty husk. So now, not only did you, have your own body, have all your memories, and have all that stuff, in supposedly in your body, so your memories in your body are not separate in this world. Or I mean, in general, I guess you can say so. That's kind of what they were saying with this week's episode, and to see um, what they were talking about was the fact that once we look into it and we see, he knew how to manipulate, or he was going to try to manipulate the girl who was helping Abigail with just, acting and posing as him. But because they were in love, he's like, ah, man, it's always hard to break you lovers. You always can tell something's off with your lovers and stuff. So it's kind of like the only kryptonite to his ability of taking over. And that goes the same, especially with the mother, because she's like, you're not my son, like, I don't know who you are, but whatever you're doing, I just want my son back pretty much at this point. And now that we learned how this all works, that's never going to happen. Like, the weird part of all this is they keep saying is this is fate. This is how fate has to be. This is, like, there's nothing you can change of any of this because it's supposedly just going to happen. And because he's already witnessed the death of like almost every single one of the people he cares about, supposedly that can't be undone, and it's going to happen regardless of the parallel world he jumps into. It's somehow the fate of, those people he's met, those people he cares about. And I thought that was absolutely messed up, man. Like, that's so jacked up to not only have to witness it, but then after you witness it and you think you can, you try to change it as many times as he's like jumping side to side in the same parallel world. But here's the thing that's kind of confusing that I think some people will lose track on is, for instance, in this week's episode, at the very end, he does all that, like, he does the shuddering thing and he gets kicked out, and the chaos, like, reforms and fixes itself, and one of the things that needs to be fixed is him existing in the world. But when he's hitting the button and, like, saving his own hide or going back and then changing the outcome, he's still going to a different parallel world, but he's still existing in the same one. So it's like a parallel world within the parallel world. And then now that he's teleported again and got kicked out of that parallel world that he was in, when he just got his memory erased like Men in Black with a little look here, and you splash him with the little light. I don't know if anyone's seen Men in Black, and that would feel real. Well, I guess there is a remake, so there's a reason for people to rewatch the old one. So I suggest you do that before watching the newest one. Well, they'll probably be referencing all of the old school characters and things that have happened. But she pretty much pulls out the Men in Black flasher that wipes your memories, and then after they wipe your memories, they can pretty much tell you what you're gonna do. But in this case, she's like, so what are you gonna do? Like, asking him what he's gonna do, and it gives you more of the feeling that they didn't want to go all the way in. They didn't want to go that in, on it. But it's definitely something that influenced maybe that the creator's choice of making this part in general. So I thought that was really cool, little nod to something that might have influenced this guy, and it made it into the show, and it's dope. Other than that, though, we just really are lost when it comes down to probably getting any actual information that's going to elaborate further on how ridiculous and how the end of all this is going to play out. We got to remember that this is 26 episodes, right? And this is what shows do, that kind of like always keep me as a viewer on my toes, because he's about to supposedly get the final gem, right? And how long did it take him to get kicked out of this place? Around like 2 episodes. So if I predict that it's going to take another 2 episodes for him to meet up with Kana now, understand everything about her, and then get kicked out, that leaves us at like episode 16, 17. And we still have like 26 or 24 full episodes. So he's already needs 1 gem to fill up the reactor, and then his father said a new path will open for him. So maybe that new path won't have him restarting where he left off all the time, and that the new path will be what he was saying, I think much earlier, where they said that uh your mother was from a different world entirely, seemingly. And if that's the case, why wouldn't he have to go to that world at some point in time? It'll probably be like the most, hopefully it'll be like the most peaceful time for him. That's me guessing though. I mean, it could be the even harder than him living on Earth and dealing with stuff, but it seems like if he goes to another world where things might be a little bit better for everybody, maybe it will be less like not hazardous, but it'll be peaceful for a little bit and then get crazy. I don't know. I'm just here to watch the show and enjoy, and to think that it's already done so well so far. I am pretty happy with it, and this is when I start to get, chill and relax, and then they start pulling the rug underneath me, like, and that's what I love about these shows is they always have a chance of just being like, hey, and now we're just gonna do something crazy. So bear in there with us, grit your teeth, and let's go. So I really hope it does do something like that yet again, because it's already done that for me in this show. So if they can somehow pull off that same feeling yet again, I will be mighty impressed. But overall, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening. We lost a very important person in the YouTube community, and I've already shown my respects a couple times in other places, but I'll just, say mental health and stuff like that is definitely an issue, a bigger issue than it's ever been in the US lately. And I think it definitely has to do with something with the whole social media and being able to talk to anybody at any given time that you've ever heard talk or ever heard something. And if you don't like what they said, you can get your opinion out real quick and in a hurry. So that definitely gives a lot of people power that they probably don't even understand. It could hurt or, distraught people. But I hope you all know that none of you have really done anything bad to me. And I hope that you use that same positive and nice energy to everybody out there, because we're out here losing people in their 20s who could have been potentially some of the greats and continue to been great than we've ever imagined, and now their life is gone. They're gone. So I hope you all have somewhat of a good day, night, evening. I I'll always be here as long as I can, and I hope to talk to as many of you people as I can in my anime groups. But at the same time, always know that I'm a human and I gone through some crazy stuff, and I will always be down to listen to any of you guys if you have something to say. So, or just wanted to talk to get something off your chest, it doesn't matter. Have an awesome one, and I'll definitely talk to you tomorrow. So with that, peace.